Today, I'm joined by Milton realtor Chuck Charlton from the Charlton Advantage real estate team. Chuck and his wife, Melissa, started their real estate journey 17 years ago. And over that time period, they've consistently been ranked in the top 100 realtors in Canada, which is quite an achievement. But besides all that, Chuck is a super genuine, awesome guy who I love talking to. Chuck, thanks so much for joining me this morning.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. You were just getting started. If you want to keep going, I mean, I'm all ears.
I think we pumped the tires enough, but I have some
boy.
questions for you this morning, Chuck.
Sure.
So yesterday, Trev released their real estate numbers for November, and just taking a quick look at this, some things pop up right away. I mean, I'm looking at year over year total residential transactions up 24%. We have the selling price year over year up 13%. That's an amazing return if you're looking at investments. Listings way up 33%. So you, with your experience as a realtor looking at these numbers, what's your hot take on this? How do we make sense of it all?
The problem when looking at some of these stats is, like, for example, you'll see words like seasonally adjusted. You'll see words like, the trend. And, it's true. I mean, everybody now, it's no secret that prices are up, right? I mean, everyone's so surprised by the sale that happened down the street or in their neighborhood. So, 12, 13% up is a very common thing to see depending on area. I don't like using average price because you get into these. Toronto's always been something where there's, 10 or 15 pockets of really in-demand neighborhoods. And then you've got some that are just okay. So you've got high performing areas, low performing areas. You've got the condo market, which has shifted a lot too, right? So you and I love using examples with each other. So the one I like to use is, if your head is in the oven and your feet are in the freezer, your average body temperature is just fine, but it doesn't say a lot about the health of the body, right? So, single family homes have done very well, but you reach an affordability issue at a certain point. And then what happens is people start to migrate out to areas like mine, like Milton. Even people sell in Milton and they go to Guelph, Cambridge. So COVID has accelerated that too, because now you're not as attached to the geography of I need to be close to work. There's a lot more work from home trends happening. So there's a lot within those average prices. The condo market has really seen a shift in supply. So I was looking at the numbers. So we've had 2 months in 2020 where the condo market has had, 5,400 listings, 5,600 listings. To put that in context, 2017, there was no month where we were more than 2,800 listings. And that's probably the most similar market to what we have. So huge.
So Chuck, let me just ask a question there. You're talking specifically about condominium listings?
Condominiums, yeah. In the 416 area, with over 5,000 new listings coming out in a month is just, it's a swelling of supply that has really changed the whole dynamics with the condo market. So yeah, I mean, to have double the amount of listings in a month that you would find in the highest month in 2017, which was a very active market, you're going to start to see some things shift there. I mean, and there's two things that happen. The average price sometimes may stay about the same, but you'll find a couple of big sales and you'll find a lot of low sales. So those low sales need to kind of be worked out. So that can sometimes take 12 to 18 months to get those, because someone who really needs to sell in a market that's oversaturated with supply, they're going to have to sell for a lower number. Right. So we have to see that stuff work itself out. And it doesn't happen in 2 or 3 months. It takes time. We've seen that 2008, 2012. We've seen times when that happens.
So Chuck, let me ask you a question there. So because of that, do you anticipate that in 2021, we'll see some softening of these numbers, more normalization?
I think more normalization, right? I think the worst days are probably behind us for condos.
Hmm.
because people are looking at it now, and now you're in a position where the worst part has happened and people are really deciding, do I need to list my condo or not? So it's not a matter of, it's like want
Right.
versus need, right?
Right.
They
Right.
see it's not good conditions, it's not favorable for a seller, so only the people that really need to sell will jump out there. And
Hmm.
eventually buyers will come around because it's an affordability, it's a proximity issue. So I'm not worried about that. If you bought, let's say, early 2020, your condo's down a bit, you're going to be okay. Over the long term, like you said, you've got equity pay down. The numbers
Yeah.
will come back up. We'll flatline for probably 6 to 8 months, and then we'll just start seeing little signs of improvement.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I'm hearing you through this conversation, you're really not losing any sleep about the condo market or the Toronto real estate market as a whole. You don't think that these numbers are indicative of bubble or that things are accelerating too quickly. You think things are going to normalize and steady out in the future?
I do think so. Yeah. I mean, whenever I think of bubbles, I think of 3 years of double-digit appreciation. I think of large volumes of properties being purchased on spec.
Right.
Not, I mean, the 10% per year, absolutely. Average that out, it has happened. So we're in a bit of a
Hmm.
danger zone there.
Hmm.
But I think we might start to see just a leveling off. But again, COVID is pushing the prices of the suburban markets like the one we're in Milton. It's pushing that up. I mean, the story of the year for Milton,
Yeah.
last week there were 65 sales in Milton. 28 of them were over $1 million, which is
Wow.
amazing. This is like, you think of
Wow.
Milton as the suburban community, half hour outside of Toronto. And it's like, there are a lot of big sales in this community, right? So it's yeah. And you start seeing things like the average price, in Guelph and Cambridge has now sort of gotten up in the 600 something range. That's a long way from Toronto.
Right. Right.
London, Windsor at one point was the hottest market in Canada a few years ago. I don't know if it still is.
Mm.
So
Mm.
so it's the pushing out. It's actually like the averages are now spread out. You hear about Toronto and New York, the commercial real estate. I mean, things have shifted, right?
Right.
There's
Right.
definitely a lifestyle shift.
Hmm.
You can sell your condo in Toronto and get a townhouse in Milton. You can get a detached home maybe in Guelph. Like, people are
Right.
deciding, everybody's dream is to have that single family home,
Yeah.
the white picket fence, right?
Right.
All those
Right.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Chuck, I did a video this week reflecting on the announcement by the federal government of very ambitious targets of bringing 1.2 million new Canadians into Canada over the next 3 years. And of course, Southern Ontario is the main destination. So, I mean, this is going to put more of a squeeze on the limited supply that we have. Prices are going to accelerate. Do you see it that way as well?
Absolutely. I mean, you have a situation where you've got immigration. Obviously, COVID, I mean, has put a pause on that, but it's not a hard stop.
Hmm.
You have greenbelt legislation, limited supply, and people. My experience has been, people don't just move here and buy a home right away. There's an
Hmm.
incubation period that
Hmm.
exists. They might have to work for a couple of years. Some people
Right.
bring some savings, but my experience, they don't just kind of come within a few months. Even,
Right.
you've got to build some credit up and those kind of things.
That's right.
But yeah, the future looks bright. Definitely, it's that greenbelt legislation. Now, there's even talk of, by Ontario, of reducing the power of conservation authorities, and I don't know if I agree with that,
Wow.
but
Wow.
it's I mean, they're trying to open up some of that inventory, because I think if prices rise too fast, eventually everything comes to roost, right? It's just,
Right.
you have to make sure that it's responsible growth.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, Chuck, I mean, this is fascinating stuff, and we could go on probably for another 10 minutes talking about this. But I want to ask you one last question about timing, because I think that's on a lot of people's minds. I mean, I look at these numbers and I go, this feels a little bit scary that things are accelerating quickly, and perhaps a little bit out of control. So is now the time to jump into the market if you're thinking about it? Should you wait? Can you time this market? What's your advice to somebody wanting to sell and buy?
Well, you don't really know the bottom of any market until after it happens, right? That's
Right.
the difficult part. I think people always at this time of year ask the question, should I wait till spring or should I do something now?
Hmm.
As a seller, one of the best things for you is lack of competition, lack of other options for buyers is going to help you sell your house. And so right now the volume goes down. So we have pretty typical numbers for December, January so far.
Hmm.
And then if we get into lockdown COVID situations, those numbers just go down further. So we might go
Right.
to about 50% total volume. So if there's, 1,000 sales in December, or sorry, in like a hot market, like let's say September,
Yeah.
1,000, there might be 500 in December. So that's all
Right.
it is, right? Is the number of
Right.
listings goes down, the number of sales goes down, and that's normal. And that's actually what happened during COVID was we found March, April, May, the total volume went down, but the ratio between the sales and listings didn't change. So in other words,
Right.
the buyers and sellers were there in the same numbers, just less. So
Balanced out.
that's why when
Yeah.
June came around, and remember, it started off as a health crisis, not an economic crisis. So
Yeah.
when the safety was perceived as being okay, the numbers just picked up right where they left off, pretty much June 1st.
Right.
So
Right.
so all we're going to see in the winter, if COVID lockdowns happen, is just the numbers are going to go down a lot. Days on
Hmm.
market will extend, which is pretty normal for a December market. So, but if
Hmm.
you're patient, your price does not go down usually. You got to hang in
Good
for the right
news.
buyer sometimes. But remember, there may be half the number of buyers out there now, but the
Right.
ones who are out there are pretty serious. Like you're not just checking in on things if you're shopping for homes in December. You're pretty serious. You want to buy a house, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
I can tell you from my own experience with clients that we're taking on for pre-approval, there are, I think, more pre-approvals in December than I've ever had in my career. So people are active. People are looking. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. And I think January, I've looked at the stats for pre-approvals. I think that's the highest month of the year for actually, because you get almost that resolution where it's, let's
Exactly.
this is the year we stop paying our landlord kind of thing, right? Or this is
Right.
the year where we stop settling for our small kitchen and move into a bigger kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so I think that as far as timing the market, it's always a situation of what you know now, and you just don't know what's going to happen in the future. Generally, things look pretty positive.
Hmm.
I don't think things are going to tank. It just doesn't feel like the fundamentals. Interest rates are really the accelerator for all this stuff. It's like
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's still the prices are high because interest rates are low. It's like you can have it the other way. You can wait for the market to go down price wise, but that's usually because interest rates go up.
Right.
So
Right.
your
And
monthly
then
payments
it's all
are,
a question of affordability, right? What does
that's
it
right.
cost? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, your
Yeah. Yeah.
monthly
Good.
payments are the thing that matters. It's like when you buy cell phones and you buy cars, how do they market those? They say, this is how much upfront, this is
Hmm.
how much per month.
Right. Right.
That's what
Right.
people care about. And that's how you need to make your decisions, is what's important to me. And then also, can I buy something that I'm not going to lose sleep over, as far as like the payments, right? You want
Right.
something that still fits your lifestyle and allows you to do things besides just pay your mortgage. And
Right.
that's why having somebody like yourself, is so important, because you look at big picture things, not just,
Right.
well, here's what the approval is, just go do that, right?
Yeah.
So
I
I love
I
that.
appreciate that take. Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, Chuck. And now listen, this has been an excellent conversation. I appreciate your time. I hope the viewers have enjoyed it as well. If somebody would like to get in touch with you and the team, is there a preferred way to do that?
Yeah, so you can find us on social media at Charlton Advantage team. You can go to our website at
There, I got
charltonadvantage.com.
it. I pulled
You
it
can
up
see
here.
from that
Beautiful
screen
website.
there, our job is to create a 5-star experience. And if you look at the Google reviews, I don't know about you, but everything I buy now, if I go on Amazon, I'm always reading the reviews to see what's going on. And it's really important to us that when you have a good experience, Chris, it's like you don't really tell anyone, but if you have a great experience, you want to share that with other people. So we're
Right.
really happy with the reviews that are online for us. So just check those out if you want to see what we're about.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chuck. Have a wonderful day, and I look forward to doing this again with you in the future. Bye for now.
Thank you. Thank you.